Welcome to the March 22nd, 2023 Historic Preservation Commission meeting. This meeting is called to order. All members are present and we have a quorum. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now open up for public comment. I have a question for staff. I don't see the phone number listed.
Up on the
Oh,
screen.
it's up there. Okay. Oh, there it is. Gotcha. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. Each person has up to 5 minutes to speak on a specific item. For those who'd like to call in to the meeting, the number is 702-589-9629. And just to for the record, there's nobody in the audience, so we'll just wait for folks to call in if they would like to. So as there's been no public comments to call in, we'll move on to the agenda. Agenda item number 1 for possible action, approval of the minutes of the February 22nd, 2023 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes as printed.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are passed. Agenda item number 2 for possible action, discussion regarding activities for Historic Preservation Day and award for 2023.
Have we received any applications for awards or any nominations, I should say?
It's still 3, just like it was last month.
Okay.
Okay. So is there, let's stick with the event. That's the item number 1. Anything else to add to, or does staff have anything to update, or are you seeking any information specifically from the commission at this point?
Well, we will need to, I guess, hone down your task list a little more. For instance, there's some question marks throughout the document. Charlie, do you know if are rolling stock tours going to be part of the event or not?
Yes, that is definitely going to be, and now I don't know whether, I should ask Christopher about wording maybe, but he definitely will do a portion of his presentation will be up on the platform where the rolling stock is, where the engines and the cars and so on are, yeah. But I use the term rolling stock, and I'm not too sure that that's the term that he would like. So I need to check with him and make sure that's.
Well, we probably won't put that on the flyer
Doesn't need
or
to
the
be,
schedule,
no.
but I just wanted to clarify for
Task, yeah.
our description.
No, as far as the flyer goes, yeah, that's fine.
And then Blair had submitted some changes, which you have before you, or suggested changes to the schedule and map. But for the schedule, I realized I needed to clarify something. On page 14 of the packet for the summary of the schedule, and of course, I understand everything's somewhat flexible as to how long the folks at the Railroad Museum are going to talk and how long your visitors may be staying there. But since you need to have a little bit of travel time for people to move from the Railroad Museum to the ticket office, and then from the ticket office to the Safety First building, I was thinking for what I had on the draft flyer on page 18 was saying that the ticket office would be from 10:15 to 10:45, because that way then if your customers, or visitors are, if they actually want to stay till 10 a.m. at the railroad, they'd probably want to know that you're not going to start talking at the other building till 10:15, unless you want to repeat yourself.
Nope.
So I'll go ahead and, I guess I'll change the schedule on page 15 to refer to that it ends at 10:45. And of course, if the museum folks are done earlier, that's one thing, but again, you don't know how long the visitors may be hanging around and doing the tours and looking at that model railroad.
Exactly, right, yeah.
Railroad train, so I guess I'll just change everything to say 10:15 to 10:45 for that, and that way the visitors will know when they need to be over to that location. And one of the other questions was with regard to, I noticed, Blair, on your draft schedule for the art, you said that voting will be until 1:30 p.m., but I got the impression that the Railroad Museum folks were just planning on having everything from 8 to 10 a.m. and then basically locking stuff up.
So in a sense, ignore my version of your schedule of events. Don't ignore it, but I'm just saying, when I did this really quickly, I failed to look at yours.
Oh, okay.
So yours is way better, although I would, we can work on it.
Well, Charlie, do you know, is the Railroads Museum's expectation that they're going to be, in terms of the maintenance building, because that's not normally open to the public, and that's where the art pieces will be displayed?
Yeah, Susan, and I'll verify that tomorrow, because it's not clear to me either. I assumed that after 10 o'clock or 10:30 or whatever it was, that they were going to close that building. Mm-hmm. But because they would have to leave someone there all day, and I don't know whether they, are willing to do that or not. So I will verify that. I'll see those guys tomorrow, and I'll get back to you.
And I guess the other thing you'd want to make sure, since the idea is that you'll have several tables and set up there with information and posters, if the Railroad Museum only wants the building open to the public between 8 and 10, then you'll just want to verify with them that you or some other members will be able to get back to the building,
Yeah,
like say
right.
the following
Yeah.
Monday or whatever,
Right.
to pick up stuff, if not later that same day. Just find
Yeah,
out.
so I'll talk to him about that, right. And I'm sure we can do that, Susan, because now I'm a member of the Friends, so I can go do it myself if I have to, so. But yeah, I will check on that.
Okay, in that case, then, Blair, since, referencing the draft schedule on page 18, were there parts of yours that you submitted today that you did want to incorporate in that? I'm just Obviously, I would need to change this stuff about the hike, since apparently
That's
that's
the
now
only
going to be
thing,
on
I think.
Monday.
Yeah, it's just that the hike has to go in there, and I like the word subsequent event better than, although, I mean, I wonder if the way I have the Saturday and the Monday, if that would help people realize that, oh, the hike isn't on Saturday.
Right. If I cut down the text in the hike part, I can make it bigger. I mean, I don't, yours may be, I like that as well. It's just that the focus is, I mean, this is an event for Historic Preservation Day, it's just not occurring on the day. Well,
I know, I was like, but it's kind of weird.
well, I can get rid of some of the other, I like your timing set up clearer, I guess, since I've got maybe perhaps too many lines with the ticket office and safety first building highlighted, unless you like that version better. And also, I'm guessing you didn't reference a sign-up sheet for the hike, but I'm guessing now that it's going to be a Monday morning, you're probably not really going to get 25 people coming out anyway, so maybe a sign-up sheet isn't really
Yeah, the Park Service didn't say
care.
they didn't care. They just wanted to make sure that 25 people, that they would make it only for 25, but I bet they won't get that much
I would
on a Monday.
agree, and in fact, even if you had a sign-up sheet on Saturday, there may be people who would sign up and then not show up, so it probably wouldn't matter.
And it may be one of these, they have this tour occasionally or this hike occasionally, so it may be that they're advertising it anyway.
Oh,
And it'll be open to the public as well as anybody who wants to sign up.
okay.
I don't know, but
Okay, so we'll skip the sign-up sheet then.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
but the information that they provided me is what's in my description as far
Okay.
as the links.
Yes, yours is more detailed, but
And,
I
that-
just pulled the info off their website,
Okay.
so I'll definitely change that. And then for the map, I will start working with Jennifer on that. And by any chance, the graphic that you put in the corner here, it's a photograph, obviously, of a sign. Where is that sign located? Is it down at the visitor center?
No, that's that's actually a picture of me taking a picture of this.
Where is the
It's up
sign?
on the platform.
Oh, at the Railroad Museum.
At the and it's actually a portion of a poster that's, 4 or 5 feet
Right,
big. And it's an excellent poster.
right, but did you ask them about the source graphic, and they didn't have it?
yes,
Okay,
and
well, if we can include that, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to do another version where we're not seeing the shadow of you
Well,
and
yeah, I
everything
don't know how
else
you
in
can do
there.
So what I was going to do is try and go there and figure out a time where the sun and what the, reduce the reflection and try and get a really decent shot of it.
And see, this other little thing that pokes in here on the side is it's a picture of the railroad workers and so on, and it,
And that'll be in the picture.
That
So
will be
if
in
we
the
can
picture.
Photoshop it out.
unless you can Photoshop
Maybe.
it out, which would be, yeah.
But yeah, we did ask the Railroad Museum if they had a copy, a digital or other copy, and I couldn't find anything online that was a simple drawing of the routes. So this is a really good image, and I think it's really important. That's why I would like to include it. So I will work on getting a better
Okay.
image.
And like I said, I'll work with Jennifer on the map. And for the Railroad Museum, we really do need to refer to the maintenance building as well, since they're across the street from each other, and they do have separate addresses with
Okay.
separate signs, so. And I'll even see if we can have a version of the map where there's a photo of each building, maybe even on the map. I know she did it before, would be available on the
okay.
QR code, but.
Okay.
And then I'll see what we can do for a map that points the way to the railroad tunnel trail, because if we're gonna pass this out, it needs to be a little better than something that says, well, somewhere out there.
I know, I
is
know,
a trail.
I know. I was hoping that your skilled mapping GPS, GIS peeps would make their
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah, it's possible we might end up having two maps.
Oh.
You know, I mean, we'll see.
Okay.
Maybe one will be more detailed.
The other thing is we could get rid of this map. If I can't get a decent one of the railroad lines, they'll see
Okay.
it at the museum.
Okay, that's a good point, because if we could possibly get rid of these boxes over here, then I can probably have Jennifer get the wayfinding map that shows everything, including where the trailhead, entry is.
Okay.
Because ideally, still, there's a schedule on one side and just one wayfinding map on the other.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just have to work on it. So,
Okay. All right. Thank you. And if, I was going to ask the commission if there were any other railroad resources that we wanted to highlight for the public. I mean, the only thing I could think of was the depot at the Clark County Museum.
Well, there is that, there's that little, it was the ticket office thing, wasn't it? Michael, do you remember, or Susan, the one that,
That was for the
it was
airport.
for the airport, but it's something that is at the, well, that's true, it isn't railroad. It's
Right.
at the, yeah. Well, yeah, for railroad, yeah, I
If you think of anything,
can't
just,
think of any.
I guess, let me or Charlie know, and,
Well, of course, the Ray will be at the filtration plant.
well, that's
and-
already listed here.
and
This
so
is stuff
is
that
the-
isn't,
Yeah, and so is the warehouse, so, as far as railroad building,
the only other thing I could think of was the gravel place in the park, where the train would go into the park, and I think there's remnants of the gravel
in the,
in the national parks in Lake Mead.
you mean the gravel plant they had down
Yeah.
there? Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
And I
oh,
don't know
maybe
if that's-
so. Oh, there might be, I don't know.
Anyway,
And Charlie, do you know for the ticket office building, since now there's actually a business occupying that space, is the idea that your talk is probably going to be outdoors?
Oh, it'll have to be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that little building, you can only get about 4 people in there.
Right.
Yeah. But it has kind of a porch on it,
Right.
which will be sort of advantageous for talking to,
Right.
so.
And Ray, for the water filtration plant, we had a couple notes down here. Was there going to be a talk by a railroad museum volunteer?
I haven't talked to anybody up there about that.
Actually, I
Do you
don't
think
think
there might
so.
be
In fact,
anyone?
they told me that they can't talk other than at
The
the
museum?
museum for
Okay.
liability reasons or some such thing. I mean. if they-
Okay.
So, yeah, so they're not going to have, that's why I'm gonna be doing the presentation at the Busy Bee, because they won't let any of their people do a
Gotcha.
presentation at the Busy Bee.
Maybe at some point at the Railroad Museum, somebody could mention that about the water filtration plant, about the train stopping there. and
Oh,
whatnot.
sure,
And
oh,
then-
yeah, certainly, I would
Yeah,
think.
Then, of
Scott
course, I'll
Railroad
touch on
Avenue.
that at the building itself on the day, telling people how it operated and, the
Okay.
train, where the train pulled up and what it,
And actually,
what
Ray, I want
chemicals.
to inject that into the talk that I'm gonna give at the Busy Bee, because there's 2 other, I want to make note of the fact that the railroad went into the mess hall, into the Anderson's mess hall. There was a spur that went into the, and that spur then went on to the filtration plant, and there was a spur that went down to the
the water.
Safety First building. But, so that'll be a mention, is
Yeah.
what it'll be.
that'll be good. I
Yeah,
think that'll suffice.
The train starts here and that's the way it goes, so.
So do you want to see this line on the map?
Well, there is an illustration that shows those spurs, and I've got that illustration digitally. And I think I would like the poster whatever poster we're gonna end up with at the Busy Bee place, I want that map on there, okay? And I just discovered, in fact, that the UNLV archives has the full map, and I'm going to ask them if I can use it. It's one of these things you have to get permission to, and reference it. And I can show you that stuff, Susan, that I have now, the picture.
Well, if you'll recall, staff will be happy to print the posters
Right,
for
oh,
you and
yeah.
provide the poster board, but you guys are designing
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if you
yeah.
share that with Blair,
Yep.
since Blair did the beautiful posters for the other buildings, hopefully she'll be able to.
But I
Make
want to be
you a
able to give you
poster
the
for that
digital
one.
thing so we can get the photo made and
No, you
whatever.
give it to me.
I give it to you to give it to, yes, right.
Yeah, she'll do the art, she'll create the artwork and the poster,
Ah,
then she'll
right.
forward it to me when it's
Okay.
done.
But my point is, we have to let your map staff know exactly where the line is so that it can go onto the map.
For the location map,
Right.
wayfinding map.
And so I need to take that map and, because I know that it follows Railroad Avenue, but I don't know where it does that spur to go to the warehouse.
So.
See, that's what that's there for.
Yeah, right, well, yeah, right, yeah.
So Blair, are you saying that your depictions for the red and black lines here are not necessarily accurate?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not, well, they are,
Well, they're kind
they're,
of, sort of.
they do follow it, Google. I'm following Google, and you can see the railroad line on Google Maps up to near where Starbucks is. And then it goes away. And so then I just wagged the line that goes to the water treatment plant and to the warehouse, or to the mess hall.
Anderson, yeah, mess hall.
So Charlie, you're thinking the map that you can get will help her with that part then?
Right, I think so, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
then-
so we need to take that map and look at a modern map, and then I'll draw it out and give it to you.
Yes,
guys.
and then,
Okay,
great, okay.
so,
Okay,
and I'm making another poster for the water treatment plant that talks about
Oh, nice.
the railroad.
Ah,
So,
okay.
Thanks, Blair.
we've looked for water treatment plant photos that have a train.
Yeah, I've never
at the-
seen one.
Never
Yeah.
seen one. There's one before it was built, when they first started building the ponds. There's a train there, but there isn't any building there. Yeah,
Too bad.
anyway, I don't know why nobody ever took a picture of the train at the. Bell
So
Ranch.
I'm doing another poster for that, and then I'll do another one for the Safety First building. And then I'm working with Charlie on the one for the Busy Bee building.
Busy BB. Yeah.
Okay. I guess as always, if members see anything that needs updating on this list, just email me and let me know. And, okay, Blair, for the railroad tunnels event, okay, I had a bunch of question marks on the schedule on page 16. So tours are confirmed. Okay, and yes, there will be a tunnel hike, it'll just be the different day. Will there be a talk or presentation by a railroad museum volunteer? I
No.
guess not, since
Nope.
they can't be off-site.
Nope.
And will there be a talk or presentation by NPS staff?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And is the idea that there would still be tours every 15 minutes or so?
It's pretty relaxed. I think,
Okay.
if people show up, he'll bring people in, and then
Okay.
he'll give a tour for 15 minutes. And then he'll go back out, and if there's somebody else out there, then he'll take them back in. And then as long as people are there, he'll give tours every 15 minutes until 12, until noon.
Okay, and then you also had on there share promotion with NPS, and unfortunately, by the time everything got confirmed, it was too late for the flyer that will go in the utility mailers to mention them, so they're not listed on there. But they will be listed on the schedule, so did you have something else in mind?
Nope, that's
or-
all I was going to do, is
Okay.
share it with them, share the schedule with them and the
Oh,
map.
so you will, okay.
Unless
that's what you
you
meant by
need to
that.
do that officially.
You've got the contact, so once, like I said, we'll be posting it online, and, or if you want to provide the contact information to me, I'll make sure Lisa has it on her distribution list when she does
Okay.
a news flash or press release or whatever
Okay.
about that.
Because I think they're going to post it on like their social media
Great.
is how they're going to promote it.
So Blair, I guess it doesn't have a time on it. So did you tell us that, or?
8:30,
Oh, okay.
yeah. That's all I have, unless anybody else has any questions about the event, the schedule, map.
And for the draft schedule, Blair, since you, like you said, when you did yours, you hadn't looked at the one in the packet yet. Was the group okay with the little note at the bottom promoting the museum's 90th anniversary event? Because they do have something going on the same day.
No.
That was something you had mentioned last month.
Well, it's mentioned in here somewhere. I read it.
What, I'm sorry, Susan, I was reading something.
At the bottom of the draft schedule on page 18, I had the little.
Right, oh,
blurb.
yeah, it's the thing about the Boulder City Museum. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I'll double check with, I'll see Tiani next week. But as far as I know, they're still planning something.
Yeah, I think
but-
they're having an event indoors or something that
Something,
day.
right. And so, yeah, I'll show her this verbiage, and then if she has, yeah, because it's something that's gonna go on all year. In fact, I think their big celebration is actually in December. I think she keeps telling us, but, so,
I wonder if the depot information at Clark County Museum could be an also.
The Clark County Museum on Boulder Highway?
Yeah, there's our Boulder City depot is there, and that shows up on the map, currently, this draft map. It's not part of the
I'm sorry, what draft map are you referring to?
one I sent you at the, yeah,
that box in the
bottom
bottom
right,
left corner,
bottom right corner.
or bottom right
Oh,
corner, the
I
other left.
see.
Yeah, and since it seems like that's the only thing, I wonder if we could combine that as an also. I don't know.
That'll be on the schedule? Because I'll see, the schedule's obviously
Interesting.
kind of full.
Oh, so this is actually an event. Oh, I see that the museum
Yeah.
is putting on. Oh, never
Yeah, That
mind.
was on the,
I just thought it was like, come visit them anytime.
No, they do have an
Oh,
event
okay.
going on that day, and they are promoting Historic Preservation Day, because I'm on their
okay.
email list, and so,
Never mind then.
yeah, they're promoting HP Day, and so they've got a tie-in event, that day. I
Okay.
forget exactly what it is, between 10 and
Good
2.
idea.
Just ignore me.
Okay.
Blair, that is really interesting, though, for people to do their own research on their own. Not to be the Boulder City Depot.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to somehow keep that in there if people
Yeah.
want to go see it, or we could, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Way you have it there, it's other things you want to do on your own, it's just, they take question marks off, but otherwise just leave it there.
Yeah.
Well,
We're just trying to
Blair-
find some space on this map, so.
Blair, another option, it'd be more work for somebody, but you can have more handouts, for your event. Clearly, you're gonna have, the foldable map and schedule so that people can have that with them. But if somebody wants to draft up basically a nice article about railroad, the history of the railroad in Boulder City, with text, map and/or graphics, that can just be a separate informational handout that we can have at the event. And then, once we make it all nice and pretty looking, we can even have that, on the website, as extra information.
That would be interesting to
I can,
do.
that might,
It'd be nice to put like those, like our posters. I mean, I just don't want to do 5 different things and
I
then a
appreciate
handout. I
that.
don't want to just do a handout for the sake of a handout. It'd be nice to keep it for future events or
Well,
immortalize it on the web or, I don't know.
exactly. Like, for instance, right now, we've got a document on the website that's, I think, 12 or 13 pages about the history of Boulder City, and it was something a former member McIntyre had drafted, and then I kind of reformatted for her. And it's got photos and it's basically a nice summary history of the city. That's pretty lengthy with all the photos, and she put a lot of time into that. But if what you want is kind of a summary document about the railroad aspect of Boulder City, maybe you or Charlie or, other members could work on a little fact sheet on that. Even if it's just bullet points with that map, with the spurs and all that stuff on it.
yeah,
And
that
then,
might be.
we can make it graphically look nice and then put it on the website. And, if it's convenient for as a handout, you can have that as a handout as well.
The other option might be to contact the Clark County Museum. They do have a handout for the depot. And could we get permission to just print it out and make it available? And then we could have a link to it on the website. We don't have to recreate the information that goes with the depot, and it's pretty nicely
Actually, yeah, that-
organized and designed. So. Okay. Anything else about the event? Okay. So the award then, anything that we need to do about the award?
I think the only question I was curious about, and it might be something you'll decide at the end, is I keep mentioning in the staff report that back in 2020, when you didn't have we couldn't have the event due to the pandemic, what you did was you had the presentation of the award videotaped at the winning property. Is that something you think you might be inclined to do this year, or do you just want the presentation at the council meeting as it's normally done?
I don't have time to film anything.
I think the council meeting, I think we should just go back to the way it was before. We just did that because of the
Pandemic,
so
okay. We'll settle that then.
It's great when people
makes
come and
sense.
get recognized here at the council.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Susan, for corralling all this information and keeping us focused.
You bet.
Looking really great.
Okay.
And again, I guess for all the members who are involved with any particular events, again, if you see any corrections, just email me that info. And like I said, in the interim, obviously, we've got more work to do for the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. All right, moving on to item number 3. Update on implementation of the committee's goals and priorities.
Staff will answer any questions the commission has.
Anybody have anything?
No?
No, I don't see anything that's really, seem to be moving along.
All right, moving on to item number 4. For possible action, authorization of letter to the Bureau of Reclamation regarding their memorandum of agreement with the State Historic Preservation Office for landscape changes to 1200 Park Street and 500 Date Street.
Blair, is there a reason why this wasn't signed? Concurring party, is that just?
If you read the staff report, or I apologize, the staff report references that the city attorney said that it's inappropriate for any city committee to be a third party to an outside agreement. But what the staff from the Bureau indicated was that, this was not a requirement, and that if the commission couldn't be a concurring party, they would appreciate a letter of support if you wish to provide that. So we would need direction from the commission in order to do that.
So did they ask if, in lieu of the commission, the city would be a concurring party?
They didn't mention that. They said basically the agreement's already done. I said, did you want to redo the signature page, to eliminate the reference to a concurring party? And he said, no, it's already signed, because they said it's effective already anyway. This was just pretty much just a courtesy, that they thought it would be beneficial to show support by the commission, since they did appear before you, and their memorandum appears to address many of the, the items that you brought up at that last meeting.
So if I have some issues with this MOA, do I just contact them directly? Because it has nothing to do with the city. It's the relationship between the BOR and the SHPO. And the one thing I really have a problem with is that they apparently had a groundbreaking on the 10th of March. And I don't know if they truly broke ground, if like the bulldozers were out there. But it says here that prior to any construction or grounds disturbance associated with this project undertaking, they will have carried out the preparation of the Historic American Landscape Survey. And they haven't done that yet, and that's not here.
I believe what you're referring to is the note in the monthly status report that they were supposed to have a ribbon cutting, apparently, is what Michael was told on, March 10th. So I'm sure that was mostly ceremonial. I mean, I haven't seen anything ripped up out there.
Yeah, I haven't
You
looked.
know.
Well, and I wasn't sure if it was there or over at Date Street.
Oh.
And I didn't even go look at Date Street.
I didn't either, but like I said, what they told Michael was a ribbon cutting, so, that's what we mentioned. And obviously, they're very aware of the need to follow federal requirements, for federal properties. So it seems like they're taking pains to do that, and it doesn't sound likely that they would pursue construction before getting that HABs done, since that's kind of the point of having a memorandum of agreement with the SHPO. But
There's
as to your
infractions in the
comment,
past.
as for contacting them, I would say you just
As a
wouldn't.
personal, outside
Exactly.
of this job.
Correct, you would
position,
not
yeah.
represent the committee
Yeah,
in
no
doing
problem.
so. But,
Okay.
Obviously, this is public information now since it's in the packet.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I even saw it on their website, because I was I was Googling to see if I could find a confirmation of that ribbon cutting
Yeah.
ceremony anywhere online, and I couldn't find it, but I did see
It
where
was
that
a-
memorandum of agreement,
Yeah.
was posted there. So it is public, so any citizen really can contact them about that.
So you found it on BOR's site or SHPO? I found it on SHPO's website too, this
I don't
agreement.
recall. When I was just
Okay.
Googling, I was just clicking on whatever I could find, so.
There was a picture in the paper.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give them a jingle later.
Does the commission want the city to draft a letter of support on the commission's behalf for this memorandum of agreement?
I don't want to.
I personally don't want one.
Yeah, I think it was a little controversial, so I don't think we need to.
What do you think?
Sounds like 3-2.
I'm not seeing, you know, I mean, it's just a letter, I'm not seeing any real purpose, you know, to spend staff time or our time to write a letter. Yeah, go for it, we like your plan, I mean.
Well, and we haven't even seen the final plan, so.
Yeah, well, they, just what their presentation was a couple months back, and that's, we told them then that it looked okay, so I think that's adequate.
But, yeah, it's not final.
No, but I mean, for information we had at that time, you know, keep going the direction we're going, that's what, yeah, we just kind of said that to them.
Ray, anything to add?
No, I'm okay either way. I mean, I don't mind either way.
So I don't think there's a need for a separate letter concurring with their project.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see. All right, item number 5. Discussion and update on the status of properties in the historic district or other potentially eligible properties. Anybody have any questions or?
Well, it doesn't look like there's any.
I'll just mention that each month I go through the permit records for this, and I was curious, and I'm having staff follow up with it because I noticed the police department awnings have been installed, but the permit wasn't put through the system. It was applied for, but they went ahead and did it. So I've asked staff to follow up with that, so it'll probably appear on next month's report showing the permit issuance.
So will the police go to permit jail now? or-
Let's go over there and
Get a hold
arrest
of
them all.
No, it's just,
We need to
it's,
get a whole code enforcement to give Chief
Yeah,
Shea a
right,
ticket.
yeah.
And for commission members' benefit, no new updates regarding the CCCHP grant. We're waiting to hear back from the state on some questions the city attorney had.
Thanks.
I had a question regarding the grant application, and I believe it was approved for, I don't know the address, for Tara's property, the coffee shop. And
On Avenue B.
Avenue
Yeah.
B.
Well, we approved that, right?
Right, and my question though is, I understand that she may not be able to go forward with it. So, oh, maybe you don't know this, sorry.
I don't.
And so this is just then a general question,
Okay.
and I could be wrong, but if a applicant is okayed, approved for that grant, and then something happens, does the money go back into the pot and then have to be, redistributed for at another time?
Yes.
And
so-
during that year, or what happens if, how much time do they get to say, hey, I can't do this project?
Yeah, so I mean, first and foremost, it's important to point out that regarding all these grants, whether it's the residential grant, the historic preservation RDA grant, the city does not compensate, does not provide funds until after the work is completed, after all the agreements have been signed, and they've submitted proof of expenditures. And so if the project does not move forward, they have roughly a year to complete that work. And it would go back into the funds
Okay.
to be used by others.
So then somebody has a year to figure out if, let's say, whatever happened that month, they could wait and see if maybe things change throughout that year and they could still use the money. They don't,
Yeah, the
Okay.
important thing is to give flexibility to the applicant, because as we know, there's been challenges in lining up contractors, lining up materials, and so being able to do it within a shorter time frame is a challenge.
okay.
But yeah, certainly that money would be available to others if the applicant is not able to use it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Other properties or questions on that agenda? Okay. Final agenda item number 6, commission discussion regarding potential agenda items for upcoming Historic Preservation Commission meetings. So other than Historic Preservation Day event and award, anything else to bring up at our next meeting? Okay.
How come this thing keeps coming on?
All right. So I don't have my cheat sheet as far as how to close out the meeting.
Well, first we need to have the final public comment period.
And that's what I mean. So now we are open for the final public comment. For additional comments at this time, please call 702-589-9629.
Yeah. Not even a prank call.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Seeing that there are no comments, our meeting is adjourned.
Continue to set records. This is